Y'all, so apparently we are under a geomagnetic storm watch. I don't understand why they don't put stuff like this and make it news. Like, why CNN, Fox News, or any local TV station doesn't put this information out for the public to know that this is going on, right? This thing, they're saying that this geomagnetic storm is supposed to be so strong that it is some things are not going to work. Like, you might not have cell service. You might not be able to get a radio station.
Dudes just like some things might not work. Yeah, we're not talking about your penis, man. We should be explaining like electronics and stuff, man. Well, we are electronic beings. Might be on something. I don't know.
And it's going to mess up your internet connections. Planes don't need to be in the sky flying when this happens. So what's going to be their excuse if planes start to fall out the sky? So if you have a flight between now and Tuesday, do not get on airplanes, y'all. Do not get on airplanes until this stuff passes over, because it's going to hit Earth, okay? And it's a geomagnetic storm. It's a strong solar flare that's coming from the sun. And this reminds me of, y'all remember 2YK when we were expecting a big blackout? But what we didn't know what was going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
Is that we had a massive solar flare in 2012, y'all, that we knew nothing about. And guess where your government officials and all the bigwigs were headed to? To their underground bunkers. Y'all watch this video and I'll be right back.
July 23rd, 2012. Look it up, read up on it. That's nobody's hearsay, somebody made it up, it's all real. But we should have bought it that day, y'all. You should have died. All of us should have been gone. And people are probably sitting there, what is he talking about? On July 23rd, we had not one, not two, but three CMEs coming straight at Earth in a line, three of them in a row. The perfect storm. And what's the CME? It's a corona mass ejection. Think of it as when you take your hand to your forehead and you wipe the sweat off, then you just sling it off your hands, see all the little beads of sweat? Well, beads of sweat like that come off the sun as it's rotating. But this little bead of sweat is got some umph to it, y'all. This bead is the size and mass of Mount Everest. And it's a ball of plasma. It's coming at Earth. And they generally travel just below light speed. They'll cover 93 million miles in 14 hours or less. Well, these three CMEs come hurling in at us. And they came 93 million miles away. And they were going to hit us dead center. Then we have a word we use in science when we can't explain something. Phenomenon. Something bumped them. Something. I don't know what. And I'm opened up to any suggestions because it's a phenomenon. We don't know. But these things just deflected a little bit. But it was enough. But they passed so close when they went by. They were between us and the moon. They were only 110,000 miles away.
Extremely close when you're talking about these things.
When they come from 93 million miles away and they pass by only 110,000 miles, something bumped these things.
You were given an explanation though recently. Can you talk about that, of what possibly, how we avoided this catastrophe?
In a panel I was on recently for Antarctica, Linda Moulton Howe said she had some whistleblowers that said there was a big ship out there that deflected the things. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But sounds good to me. All I know is something caused these things to deflect right at the last minute. And how serious was this? This story wasn't released until 2 years after the event. It happened in 2012. It wasn't until 2014 that the press even talked about it. But if you do the math, this is really interesting. If those three CMEs hit on July 23rd, 6 months later, probably the last human being would have died on the planet because everything would have been gone. The sun's blotted out. And that last person would have died probably on December 21st, 2012. The Mayans were right. We should have died. Something intervened, something, I don't know what. But that CME event did occur. It's not BS. It really happened. Verified by NOAA, NASA, and about a dozen other countries that saw it, was mapping it in. This is a real event.
Do you have any technologies that you're aware of that could have pulled this off?
Not that I'm aware of. And for them to just change course without seeing any flash or any physical, currents out there, no, I don't know what did it. I was thinking of, Mr. Spock and the Enterprise, may have came in. Something happened that caused it to change course. But that day is also interesting is because it was so quiet on the news level. Nothing mentioned about any of this. And that's a major,
Who knew about it in this compartmentalized section? Just NOAA?
No, the entire federal government knew. They were having open house at Mount Weatherby. So they were moving in with their families. And they're going to close the doors and let us burn. I mean, our government's just the lowest scumbag you can meet. They wasn't even going to tell us about it. Why? Because they didn't want you panicking, be on the roads, and they couldn't get to Mount Weatherby.
Right.
See, y'all see how fucked up our government is? They don't care about us. Trust me, they don't.
Hey, what Michael said, they don't really care about us. Michael Jackson was putting a lot of stuff in this music, y'all. I'm just saying, do your own research, though. Don't believe none of this stuff.
Even in the movie, Don't Look Up, right? Even in the movie, Don't Look Up. Those of you that watched that movie, did y'all see what they did? Y'all see what they did, right? The movie, 2012, you see what they did. They are putting this stuff in plain sight. They don't care. If anything was to really, really happen, if we were to get attacked and by nuclear weapons or whatever, their ass is going to be down under the ground.
Facts.
Okay? They have bunkers down there. 200, 100 feet down in the ground, underground. And they have been preparing this stuff for years. Okay? I'm a truck driver. I have went to one of the inside caves underground. Yes. And I have taken dog food. I have taken water. I have taken all of these non-perishable foods down there. And I think to myself, like, why is this stuff going down underground? There's cities underground. There's roadways and streets as above, so below down there. You can only go so far. So people are down there, already down there, living in the ground. They can't come up because they cannot take our sun. This stuff is for real. If you think it's not, hey, that's on you. Use your own discernment, but you've got to understand. Okay? They have been hoarding food. They have been hoarding medical supplies, all of these things down there for them. Okay, so when they go down underground, if something happens, they're going to have everything that they need down there. So they don't even have to come up to the surface for 15 to 20 some odd years. These people are sick and they do not care about us, okay? And the more we can understand that, I think the better that we will be. Y'all get your minds right. Meditate, pray, whatever it is you do to get your minds right, because they don't care nothing about us. And what y'all think? Y'all think a spaceship really came out and knocked this thing off course? Because from what he was saying is, we should have been out of here. From what he was saying is, the Mayans were correct when they said that that was supposed to be the end of the world. But something decided that we should live, and it wasn't our time. Okay? Let me know what y'all think about this. If y'all have any more information, please share that with me, because I love all of this and stuff like this, but our government is full of shit and they don't give a fuck about their citizens.
Skull and Bones as members rise to the very pinnacles of power, like George Walker Bush, for example. When Bush contested the presidency with Democrat John Kerry, It was a battle between two bonesmen.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
Sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322?
First of all, he's not the nominee. And, look, I look for...
Are you prepared to lose?
No, I'm not going to lose.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code?
I wish there were something secret I could manifest.
322, secret number?
There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction that he's taking the country. We can do a better job, and I intend to do it.
Did he talk too much?
Societies meet. The rituals are still a secret. And so when we heard that some enterprising characters had managed to spy on the famous Skull and Bones Society, we couldn't resist.
The videotape provides a grainy glimpse into what appear to be the initiation rituals of a secret society that's been around since 1832, whose members have gone on to be leaders of Wall Street and the White House, the Senate and the Supreme Court.
They're sort of trying to scare the initiates, disorient them, frighten them.
New York Observer investigative reporter Ron Rosenbaum accompanied a team of Yale students who got these pictures 9 days ago. Rosenbaum's curiosity about Skull and Bones was permanently piqued when, as a classmate of George W. Bush, he lived right next to the Tomb, the group's heavily fortified home. From their perch, Rosenbaum and his cohorts taped the Tomb's courtyard. What they captured, they say, was initiates, known as neophytes, to kiss a skull, then members performing a mock.
It all began with a documentary that claimed the astronauts never ever landed on the moon, that the whole event was faked by the Americans, filmed on a movie set. Normally you'd just dismiss this as another of those crazy conspiracy theories, but then you find that 20% of Americans, that's like 60 million people, actually believe there's something in it, that the giant leap for mankind could have been the hoax of the century.
Of course.
That's one small step for man.
Hey, for people that that ain't familiar with this, really pay attention to this right here. Like, technology is a motherfucker. We're gonna keep advancing. The more we advance, the more things are gonna be brought to light that we're gonna understand that was cap and lies. Just like our history and everybody from every spectrum can understand, like, bro, we've been lied to. Can we all agree to that in the comments down below? Everybody has been lied to.
One giant leap for mankind.
Some say it was the greatest achievement.
So we have to question everything. Not saying this is a fact, but really break this down and dissect it for yourself and let me know how you feel about it at the end of this. Real talk, so we can have real educated conversations about this.
Of the 20th century. And looking back, it was truly amazing. Apollo 11 was a major propaganda victory for America and a major boost to national confidence. So much so that more and more people around the world now believe it was a giant confidence trick.
A suit does a lot for an image, Tariq, but it won't.
Not one astronaut has been on the moon.
I'm afraid not.
No Apollo.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, bro, like, we about to watch Power, nigga? Like, what Power got to do? All right, let's
landed on the moon. It's all a lie.
I'm afraid so. The government lies. What a surprise.
Bart Sabrell is a documentary filmmaker, a committed Christian, and a man obsessed. He and his disciples believe all the Apollo moon landings were a conspiracy on a massive scale.
While some may say to deny the moon landings would be tantamount to denying the Holocaust, we have to realize that there were 300 million eyewitnesses to World War II. But to this supposed greatest event in human history, there were only 3 witnesses, each government employees, and there was no independent press coverage of this event. And all that we saw was a fuzzy black and white television picture.
Houston, you should have a picture now.
We have a pretty good picture now.
Now, if you think you've heard all this before, you could be right. Back in 1978, Hollywood made a movie called Capricorn 1.
Ready, slow-mo.
Houston, I'm stepping onto the surface.
Take slow-mo.
The movie was about a mission to Mars, but the landing was staged, secretly filmed on a movie set. The conspiracy theorists reckon if Hollywood could fake it, so could NASA.
I was rolling on the moon one day.
They say this famous image of the astronauts planting the American flag on the moon actually happened in an air-conditioned studio. And that's why the flag is flapping. We all know there's no wind on the moon.
You can look at the footage yourself, and it certainly looks to me like the flag.
That's what they say, right? That's what they say is no wind on the moon. So how you let's keep going.
Flag is either alive or there's wind. I believe it was air conditioning because of the heat, because of the natural or artificial lighting that they had, as well as the fact that they're in spacesuits without cooling units.
And according to Bart Zabrell, there's more proof it was all a hoax. If the astronauts were really on the moon, there would be only one source of light, the sun, and therefore only one light making all the shadows.
It's 20 times brighter than the desert on Earth. There's no artificial lighting, no need for it. All shadows will run parallel. Sometimes we have two objects in a picture just a few feet from one another, and the shadows are going as much as 90 degrees different direction. Now that's circumstantial evidence of artificial lighting.
If it was all faked, there were some tricky problems for the hoaxers. For instance, how to fake the effect of the moon's gravity. Ah, that's easy, says Bart Zabrell. Slow motion.
Look at the size of that rock.
When we take the traditional television picture as seen by NASA, it's very convincing. They seem to be kind of floating around and it looks like 1/6 gravity. But all you have to do as a filmmaker is to double the speed and it's very clear that they're on Earth. They're not jumping 6 feet in the air, they're getting a few inches off of the ground.
It's silly. If you actually watch these things and speed up the film, it doesn't look natural. These guys are hopping around and they're out of balance.
Phil Plait is an astronomer at Sonoma State University in California. As far as he's concerned, Bart Zabrell is just plain crazy. If it was all faked on a movie set, why didn't the director just go for a second take when he saw the flag waving?
The reptilians are giving Hitler and Germany technology that can take them into space, and Hitler himself said the world would be populated by blonde, blue eyes and the Hebrews would be exterminated. And yet, in the United States, all of you are struggling to understand what is happening in Germany, and the people in the United States helping you telepathically are blonde, blue-eyed secretaries. What is the relationship between the reptilians helping the Nazis, blondes helping the Nazis, and blondes helping the United States?
You're asking a $64 question that can only be answered till you can accept that we're...
Who was that on the other side? Santa Claus, nigga? Like, who throat boxes sounding like that? Like, bro, we gotta reactivate you, man. Get your throat back working, your throat chakra together. You feel me? Gotta send up some herbs.
Not just dealing with reptilians or little grays or whatever. We're dealing with probably thousands of different extraterrestrial species, some of which are just coming here, taking a look and leaving. Others are doing their own agendas. Good and bad Nordic civilization people. And reptilians can make themselves look like Nordics.
Right.
Okay? They can also make Nordics and vice versa. And the most important thing is that you are living on a planet which is nothing but a laboratory that belongs to them. Planet Earth has been being used for thousands of years by different extraterrestrials. We are and have been just a laboratory planet for extraterrestrial agendas.
And supermarket for genetic material.
Yeah, right.
How weird this is. Look at the guard on the right. What the hell was that?
By sharing some of this information with you, I am in the process of violating my national security oath. The planet Earth is and has been the subject of an extensive, detailed study by several extraterrestrial civilizations. The human race is a hybrid. We were seeded here, and we have had an intimate interrelationship with high technology, advanced intelligence for hundreds of thousands of years. It hasn't stopped. They are still involved. I'm not trying to frighten you, but I'm trying to say to you that in the next very few short years, you're going to be experiencing things that are going to literally change your life in ways you have never dreamed or imagined. And you better be ready for it.
The idea of events that are happening on your planet right now will create the following situation. First of all, in late your year of 2024 and in your year of 2025, the channel himself will begin teaching in more depth the principles of the formula so that it really sticks, because this is crucial to the idea of understanding how reality works and being an equal participant in open contact. We will go on to something a little different. At the end of your year of 2026, we will deliver, when we determine it is appropriate, on our schedule, different information based on the change I'm about to tell you. The probability of this is between 90 and 95% at this time, unlikely to change. There may be some waffling, as you say, but nevertheless, this seems to be where you are heading. For one reason or another, I'm not going to tell you the circumstances that are going to create this opportunity. Even some of your more sensitive psychics have begun to pick up on this probability and are starting to announce it. Somewhere near the end, middle to end of 2026, middle to beginning to the idea of 2027, somewhere in that, you will experience on your planet a major contact event. 2026, 2027 will be a major contact event happening that everyone on your planet will become aware of. So, be prepared. Allow yourselves to be true to yourselves. Be open, be flowing, and allow yourselves to know that when this major contact event occurs, 26, 27, it will herald in an awakening for many people on your planet, not all, but many people on your planet, to really create a new momentum heading towards a shift in your realities, individually and collectively, that will begin to allow you to move even faster toward the idea of open contact and becoming members of your galactic family. So, be prepared for those years. Allow yourself to move forward. It is very important for you to be yourself now, to allow this to occur in your perspective.